All right, take a look inside your grocery cart for a second. Hidden right there, in plain sight, is this just wild genetic story. So today, we're going to peel back the label on our food, uncover the kind of strange science of how it really gets to our plates. Okay, let's dive in. Seriously, have you ever wondered why your banana has no seeds? Think about it. A fruit is supposed to have seeds, right? That's his whole point. But the bananas we all buy are just completely seed-free. And it seems like such a simple thing, but that one little question, it opens the door to this huge biological mystery. So what's the deal? How do you get fruit without the one thing it's literally designed to make? And as we're about to find out, this whole mystery, it goes way, way beyond just bananas. Yeah, this seedless thing is pretty much everywhere you look. In those giant, super sweet watermelons, those grapes you can just pop right in your mouth, even some of our oranges and lemons. And turns out they all share the exact same genetic secret. Okay, so to really get this, we have to go deep. All the way down to the cellular level. And the answer, well, it isn't in what went right. It's actually in a very specific kind of genetic error, a beautiful and, believe it or not, incredibly useful glitch in the system. So, before we can really understand the error, we got to do a quick refresher on how the system is supposed to work in the first place. And it all comes down to something pretty fundamental: how our cells divide. Basically, our bodies have two main ways of dividing cells. You've got mitosis, which is for, growth and repair. It just makes identical copies, or clones, of cells with a full set of chromosomes, what scientists call diploid. But for our story today, the one we really care about is meiosis. That's the special one, the one for reproduction, where the entire goal is to cut that chromosome number right in half. Yeah, the whole point of meiosis is precision sorting. You can think of it like it takes a cell that has two sets of chromosomes and then very, very carefully deals out just one complete set into each reproductive cell. That way when sperm meets egg, the new embryo has the perfect, correct total number of chromosomes. Okay, so what happens when that precision sorting isn't so precise? Well, mistakes can happen, and when they do, they can have huge consequences. And this, right here, is where we finally get back to our bananas. So this specific error has a name. It's called non-disjunction, and the factory analogy is perfect. Just imagine chromosomes on a conveyor belt, all lined up to be sorted neatly into packages. But then, whoops, the machinery glitches and sends two down one chute where there should have only been one. That's non-disjunction. So here's how it goes down. In that first stage of meiosis, the chromosome pairs are supposed to get pulled apart, one to each side. But with non-disjunction, a pair just gets stuck together. They don't separate, and they both travel into the same new cell. And the result of that? Well, you end up with reproductive cells that have the totally wrong number of chromosomes. And this condition, it has a technical name, aneuploidy. It just means a cell has one too many, or maybe one too few, of a specific chromosome. Now, in humans, this can lead to some really serious genetic disorders. But in plants, a related kind of error can lead to something pretty incredible. Okay, so now we get to connect that tiny cellular mistake all the way back to the food on our dinner tables. We're about to see how agriculture has basically harnessed a massive version of this genetic error and turned it into a huge advantage. Yeah, this is where that little error gets totally supersized. Forget about just one extra chromosome. We are now talking about something called polyploidy. That's when an organism has entire extra sets of chromosomes. So instead of the normal 2 sets, a plant might have 3 or 4 or sometimes even more. And get this, while that's almost always fatal in animals, in plants, it's actually surprisingly common and often really beneficial. But here's the catch. Here's the puzzle. Having all those extra sets of chromosomes, it completely messes up meiosis. Think about it. With an odd number of sets, say 3, the chromosomes just can't pair up properly to get sorted. The whole system just fails, and the plant becomes sterile, which, brings us right back to the million-dollar question. If this whole thing makes a plant unable to reproduce, how on earth is that a good thing for our food? It sounds like a total dead end, right? And boom! There's our answer. Sterility means no viable seeds. The very bug in the system that makes the plant unable to reproduce is the feature that we want as consumers. The genetic problem is the solution, and that's the secret. That's the whole thing. Our seedless bananas, our watermelons, our grapes, they are all what we call triploids. They're these sterile genetic marvels. And here's a bonus for you. Polyploid plants are often bigger, they're more robust, they have larger fruit, which makes them an even better crop all around. And it's not just about making fruit seedless. This is where it gets really wild. Just look at some of our most basic foods. Oats, they've got 6 sets of chromosomes. Potatoes and coffee, they have 4. And strawberries, get this, strawberries are packing 8 complete sets of chromosomes. This genetic quirk is literally all over your pantry and your produce aisle. But the story doesn't even stop there. This genetic tool didn't just make our fruit bigger or seedless. In some cases, it literally created entirely new species from scratch. Species that will go on to become the absolute cornerstones of modern civilization. Okay, so this process is called polyploidy, and it works like this. Imagine 2 totally different plant species managed to crossbreed. Now, their hybrid baby is usually sterile, right? Because its chromosomes are a mixed-up mess from 2 different parents they can't pair up. But then, something rare and amazing happens. The hybrid's entire set of chromosomes spontaneously doubles, and suddenly, every single chromosome has a perfect matching partner. And just like that, it becomes a brand new fertile species. And the most famous example of this? Bread wheat. I mean, the stuff your sandwich is made of. It was born from not 1, but 2 of these incredible events. So like 10,000 years ago, 2 wild grasses crossed. Their hybrids' chromosomes doubled, and boom, you get emmer wheat. Then, thousands of years later, that emmer wheat crossed with another wild grass, and guess what? Another spontaneous doubling event happened, and we got the hexaploid bread wheat that literally feeds billions of people on this planet today. And this same basic process has happened again and again. You've got upland cotton. That's like 90% of the cotton we use for our clothes. It was born from a cross between 2 totally different cotton species. We've even started doing it on purpose, to create things like triticale, which is a modern hybrid of wheat and rye that combines the best of both worlds. Okay, so after this crazy deep dive into plant genetics, what's the big picture here? What's the one crucial thing you should take away from all of this? It really all comes down to this. The foods that are the very foundation of your diet, they aren't just the products of simple, straightforward evolution. They're the result of these ancient, beautiful accidents, these incredible genetic glitches that created something entirely new and wonderful. So the next time you make a sandwich or you peel a banana, just remember you're enjoying the fruits of a beautiful genetic mistake.